Hi Robyn, this is Mike from Stagecoach Road Printing Sewing Machine, and this is your new Kenmore 404. No, it's not a Kenmore, I'm sorry. This is a Singer 404. And this is the final test before we pack her up to ship her out to you. And in this test, we're going to go over all the basic functions of the machine, how to wind the bobbin, how to thread the machine, how to set the stitch length and the reverse, the tension, all that sort of stuff. So we're going to start by winding a bobbin, and you'll find your bobbin right here below the slide plate. Just lift it right out of there, and the bobbin, these are made in a few different styles. There are metal ones with a single hole on each side. There are metal ones with multiple holes on each side, and there are clear plastic ones. But the thing you'll notice about these, it'll make it obvious which ones are for you. The Class 66 bobbin is kind of dome shaped on the top and the bottom, kind of like an old school yo-yo. So Class 66 bobbins. To wind the bobbin, put your thread spool on the spool pin. Go under this thread guide right next to it here. It's a little tension device. It keeps the tension on your bobbin just right. And I usually start by putting the thread through one of the little holes in the side from the inside towards the outside. Hold it with a finger while I put several wraps on the bobbin to hold the thread in place while it winds. And now with the thread going on over the top this way, over the top, from the front towards the back, slide it onto the bobbin winder all the way on, and take up the slack. Then press your bobbin winder up until the rubber tire contacts the hand wheel here. Then when the hand wheel turns, it turns the bobbin. Declutch your machine by turning the chrome knob in the center of the hand wheel counterclockwise, like a quarter of a turn, eighth of a turn, something like that. And you'll feel it hit its stop. And then the hand wheel can spin and wind the bobbin without making the rest of the machine cycle. So here we go. Give it a little gas. No reason to go fast because you're more likely to tangle up your thread that way, but alright, stop that. Get the wire out of it. Whatever. Doesn't matter, but I'll still make sure it's not doing that. Pull your thread spool off, tuck away the bobbin winder, then reclutch your machine by retightening that chrome knob in the center of the hand wheel. With the thread coming off the top of your bobbin in this direction, drop the bobbin into the bobbin race, and over here is a little tiny slot. It's kind of hard to see. You won't be able to see it in the video, but when you get the machine, you'll see there's a little slanted slot right here. Guide your thread into that slanted slot, and then pull the thread over this way under the flat leaf spring, which is your lower tension. And then when you pull on your thread, you'll feel just a tiny bit of drag on your thread. To wind the thread the machine, put your thread spool on the upper spool pin, go into this top thread guide, straight down between the discs of the tension assembly, and you'll see there are 2 or 3 places to put your thread between the discs, and it doesn't matter which one you use. those are so, they have multiple discs, so you can use a double needle if you want to for decorative top stitching. But yeah, don't worry about it. Just put it between any two of the discs of the tension assembly and come all the way around until you catch this little thin leaf check spring. And keep on pulling, pull the check spring up till you get all the way to the top. And then your thread will go into this little notch in the front of the tension assembly. And when you pull on your thread, you'll see it pull that little check spring up and down. You know you got it right. Go into this thread guide at the top here, and then through the take-up lever from right to left, go down to this thread guide right here, this thread guide right here, this thread guide here, and this thread guide, which is just a slot in the bottom of the needle clamp. You may or may not see it. But basically just on a straight row down here. Thread guide, thread guide, thread guide, thread guide. Keeps good control of your thread. And then you thread your needle through the eye, going from the front of the machine towards the back. And I always cut a fresh end, so you have a nice crisp end with no frayed edges to deflect against the needle hole, make it hard to thread. Put your thread, oh wait, before we do that, with the needle threaded, we're going to bring up the lower thread. And to do that, you just hold the needle thread loosely and turn the hand wheel towards you, one full revolution. Make sure you've tightened your clutch knob in the center of the hand wheel, or your machine is not going to move when you turn the hand wheel. Turn it one full revolution and it'll bring up your lower thread. And since I did a lot of talking, I'm going to do that all over again. Okay. With the thread coming off the top of the bobbin, dropping in the bobbin race, go into the little slot in the side and over under the leaf spring in the front. And then put your thread spool on the upper spool pin, go into the top sometimes the words go away. Anyway, thread guide, top thread guide, between any two discs of the tension assembly, come all the way around, catch the check spring, keep going up all the way to the top, then into the thread guide above it, through the take-up lever, into the thread guides, then through the eye of the needle from the front to the back. Hold your thread loosely. Turn the hand wheel towards you, one full revolution. All right, do that again. Make sure you hold loosely to your thread. Turn one full revolution and that will bring up your bottom thread. Put the thread between the toes of the presser foot towards the back of the machine. Now you're ready to sew. And let's see. We use some of this pretty pink fabric. This is some two-layered fabric that used to be a window valance for curtains, but it's 2 layers of kind of sheeting material like your bed sheets would be made out of, probably cotton. Put the fabric under the presser foot, and it's a good idea to turn the hand wheel till the needle goes down in the fabric. At least that's the way my mommy used to do it. Then, before we start sewing, let's look at the some of the different controls. This is your stitch length here, this lever. There's a mark in the middle that says fine, and just above that there is an indent, and right at the top of that indent is kind of the 0 point where if you run your machine, the fabric doesn't move forward or backwards. It just goes straight up and down and ends up making a clump of thread underneath, and you have to stop and pull it out. So don't sew with the stitch length lever in that position. But as you go down from that position, your stitch length gets longer and longer and longer and longer until at the very bottom is your longest stitch length. Going up from that point is reverse, and again your stitches get longer and longer and longer and longer until your longest reverse threads are at the top. So we're going to go down here to about 12 stitches per inch. You'll see it marked on the plate. That's a good medium stitch for regular fabric, regular thread. Your tension device, when I rebuilt the machine after painting it, I adjusted it so when you put your stitch length on 3 right here, that's about ballpark correct tension for a regular thread, regular fabric. But you're going to want to look at your stitch and just see if it looks like it's even on the top and the bottom, and if that each stitch is pulled down so it's slightly pulled into the fabric on the top and the bottom. And if it's not, if it's too loopy on the bottom, you'll need a little more tension. If it's tight and puckering up, you'll need a little less tension, but basically somewhere right around 3. This knob at the top here, this is the pressure on your presser foot. The more you screw this screw down, the more pressure this foot puts on your fabric. And for delicate, light fabric, you want less pressure than you do for something heavy duty or something that, but just, you know, you'll get used to it and play with it a little bit until you see what moves the fabric best. You want the least amount of pressure to move the fabric along with authority. I think that's all of the controls. There's the plate lift, plate unlock, but that's not something we'll worry about right now. Let's get the sewing done, and then we can move it and talk about that. So with the presser foot on the fabric, I usually start with the needle down, give it a little bit of gas, and away you go. Now if you want a little more, a little longer stitch length, just go down a little bit. Stitch length gets longer, go all the way down, and you have the longest stitch length. You can see the fabric moving much faster than it was with the real short length. here for a minute. If your needle is down in the thread, you can use it as a pivot to turn your fabric. There we go. Now to do reverse, you just move your lever up. And as far up as you move it is the length of your reverse stitch. Now if you want your reverse stitches to be exactly the same length as your forward stitches, say you're on sewing 12 stitches per inch, tighten down this screw until this little guide makes contact. You'll see a little wing thread guide on the side there. Okay, don't tighten it, but just take it down to the point where it contacts the plate. Now when you go into reverse, your stitch length is the same in reverse and forward. You won't be able to make any longer stitches until you loosen that knob up again. Then you have your full range. That's basically it. That's how you sew. Just give it a little bit of gas. It's a great machine. Strong and smooth. I have a fixed hand wheel so that it doesn't make the machine cycle when you're winding a bobbin, and it doesn't make that rackety racket. The microphone picks up sound way good, so it makes this machine sound a little noisier than you'll find it to be when you use it. I've removed the spool pins from above and below, and they're in this little package. They'll be under your presser foot here. When you get your machine, you just want to tap them into their holes. There's one right here in the corner, and the spool pin on the top goes in this circular raised area in the back. Oh, also I wanted to mention this control here. This operates your throat plate. It raises and lowers it. Some machines, the feeds drop. On this machine, the plate raises. So if you want to do free motion sewing, like embroidery or darning, anything that you're moving the fabric yourself instead of the machine moving it, you don't want your feed dogs coming up and grabbing the fabric and moving it. You move this lever up to the up position. Move it all the way up till it says up. You might think you have it before you get there, but go all the way to the up position, and now the feed dogs never come up high enough to move your fabric, and you'll be the one to move your fabric. If your fabric's moving, just move it up a tiny smidge more until it's not moving your fabric. But for most sewing, you're just going to have it in the down position. To take your throat plate out for cleaning, to get underneath there and brush out the dust and the lint, go all the way over to unlock and turn till the feed dogs are below the plate and the needle is above the plate. Then you'll be able to just slide it right out and get in there and brush out any dirt and lint and stuff, and also you want to put a little drop of oil right on the edge of where the bobbin race spins when you oil it. And you should oil your machine at least every 8 hours of sewing. You know, that may be cumulative over a couple of weeks of sewing, or it might be in a day. But after 8 hours of sewing, you want to put 1 or maybe 2 drops of sewing machine oil in each of the oil holes, and also just open the door in the front there and just watch everything that turns, everything that rubs against something else. And each one of those locations need a little drop of oil. Some places you'll see oil holes, other places you won't. I'll see if I can find a 404 manual online that I can send you. That'll have an oiling guide in it. In case you forget what I said on here about how to thread your machine, there's a little guide right here under the door that shows you how to thread. That's all I can think of. Thank you, Robyn. This is much appreciated. Love to see our machines go to a place where they will be loved and appreciated. And if this is somebody else who's found this video online, we are Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine. We've been restoring beautiful sewing machines for over 25 years, and we're really good at it. So if you have a machine that you want to have restored, or if you're looking for a good machine, come on out to our website, stagecoachroadsewing.com, and check it out. There's usually several machines restored, or maybe even just tested and serviced, if you're looking for something a little less spendy, because our restored machines are not cheap. We are on Stagecoach Road up in the Coast Range of Oregon most of the time. That's where our main shop is. Right now we're in the Sonoran Desert down by the Mexican border for the winter, because Oregon is beautiful most of the year, but winter's a little dismal, and I need the sunshine, so I come down here. But we're on Stagecoach Road up in Oregon, and therefore we are stagecoachroadsewing.com. So come on out and see us. And Robyn, again, thank you so much. We really appreciate patronage.